A woman in Texas checked her bank balance on an ordinary Tuesday morning and started crying quietly in the parking lot of a Target. Not because it was empty, because it wasn't, not even close, for the first time in longer than she could remember. She hadn't gotten a raise. She hadn't won anything. She couldn't point to one single moment and say, that's when it changed. And that's exactly why I'm telling you about her, because the truth she stumbled into is the same truth almost nobody believes until it happens to them. Wealth doesn't arrive. It accumulates in decisions so small you forget you made them. Nobody sits down one afternoon and decides to become rich. They just, without noticing, stop making a handful of small mistakes that everyone else keeps making on repeat, year after year, without ever tracing the pattern back to its source. I'm going to show you 10 of those decisions. Not the ones you've heard 100 times, I mean the 60-second ones. The ones that look like nothing while they're happening, the ones you're probably breaking today without noticing it. One of them is going to make you a little uncomfortable because you'll recognize it immediately. And there's one, near the end, that most people never figure out. The reason two people can earn the exact same income for 20 years and end up in completely different lives. Keep watching, because that one changes how you'll see every dollar you touch from here on. Let's start with the moment money lands in your hands. A paycheck, a bonus, a refund. There's a window right after, maybe 10 seconds, before your brain decides what that money is for. Most people let that window default to spending, not out of carelessness, but because nobody ever taught them to interrupt it. The people who quietly build wealth do one thing differently in that window. They move a piece of it somewhere they can't easily see it before they let themselves feel like they have it. Not after bills, not after treating themselves, before. There was a study out of a UCLA behavioral lab that tracked how people spend windfall money compared to money they slowly earned over months of work. Windfall money gets spent almost twice as fast, sometimes faster. Your brain doesn't treat it like it was ever really yours, the same way you'd treat a paycheck you sweated for. Which means if you don't intercept it in that first window, it evaporates. And in a week, you won't even remember where it went or what it turned into. Here's the second one, and it stings a little. Every time your lifestyle grows to match a raise, you're not getting richer. You're getting a more expensive version of broke. I know a guy who went from $52,000 a year to $81,000 in about 2 years. New apartment, new car lease, a watch he didn't need and barely wears. At the end of those 2 years, his savings account had less in it than when he started. Not because he made one terrible decision, because he made the default one. The one almost everyone makes without questioning it. The tiny, wealthy decision here isn't dramatic. When your income goes up, let your life move up slower than the money does. Half the raise funds your life, half funds your future. That gap, boring as it looks, is where fortunes get built while nobody's watching. Now here's the answer to that first question I promised you. Remember the idea that some of the wealthiest people you'll never spot on the street? It's not that they got rich despite driving something cheap or living somewhere modest. It's that everything they didn't spend on things that lose value got redirected into things that grow. A car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. A retirement account doesn't care what year it is. That's the third decision. Stop financing things that shrink. Start owning things that don't. Here's the one almost nobody talks about, and it might be costing you more than anything else on this list. It's not spending. It's comparison. You're lying in bed scrolling for 11 minutes, and you see somebody's vacation, somebody's kitchen renovation, somebody's new car, and something in your chest tightens. That tightening has a price tag because the next purchase you make often isn't about what you need. It's about closing that gap you just felt. Wealthy people aren't smarter than everyone else. A lot of them have simply gotten better at refusing to let a stranger's highlight reel set their financial agenda. That single habit, refusing to let comparison drive a purchase, is worth more over a lifetime than most investment advice you'll ever hear. There's an idea from James Clear's research on habits that fits perfectly here. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Nobody becomes wealthy because they wanted it badly enough on a random Tuesday. They become wealthy because they built something so automatic that wanting it stopped being required. The automatic transfer, the unopened credit offer, the subscription they canceled and never went back to. None of it needs willpower in the moment, and that's the entire point. Willpower runs out, systems don't. Which brings me to the thing you're probably doing right now without realizing it's costing you. It's not the big purchases, it's the small recurring ones. The $14 for an app you use twice. The subscription that quietly renewed in March that you still haven't noticed in July. Individually, these feel like nothing, and that's exactly why they're dangerous. They're small enough to never set off an alarm and repeated enough to bleed you for years without a sound. So once a quarter, actually look at every recurring charge on your statement. Most people would rather not know. The people who build wealth make themselves look anyway. Here's the sixth one, and it's about who you sit next to, not romantically, just generally. Your income tends to average out to resemble the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not folklore, it shows up again and again in behavioral economics. If the people around you treat spending as identity, new shoes as self-expression, expensive nights out as belonging, you will feel enormous, invisible pressure to match it, even if you never say a word of it out loud. Choosing your circle isn't cold or calculated. It's one of the quietest wealth decisions there is because it changes what feels normal to you without you ever having to fight yourself about it. Decision 7 is smaller than all of these, and it might save you more money than any of them combined. It's a rule, not a personality trait. Wait 72 hours before any purchase over a certain amount you set for yourself. Not because delaying makes you a better person, because the version of you standing in the store, heart racing a little, wanting the thing right now, is not the same person who will be looking at the statement in 3 weeks. I knew a software engineer in her late 20s who used this rule on exactly one category, electronics, and it was almost boring how well it worked. Most of the time, by day 3, the wanting had simply left her. Not willpower, just time doing what time does. And decision 8 is the one people avoid because it feels uncomfortable to even say out loud. Ask for more. Most people go 5, 6, 7 years without ever renegotiating what they're paid, terrified of the conversation, assuming the raise will come on its own if they just work hard enough and stay quiet. It rarely does. Research on salary negotiation consistently shows the same pattern. The gap between what people are paid and what they could be earning. If they simply asked widens every single year, they don't. One short, slightly uncomfortable conversation once a year is worth more than a decade of quietly hoping someone notices your effort. Now the turn, because if you take everything I've said the wrong way, it'll just make you miserable and tight-fisted. This was never about restriction. I once spent an afternoon talking to a shopkeeper who ran a small hardware store, made maybe $38,000 most years of his life, and he was one of the most financially at-peace people I've ever met. Why? Because he spent freely on the handful of things that actually mattered to him. Sunday lunch with his kids, one good trip a year, and was nearly ruthless about everything else. That's the real decision hiding under all the others. Wealth isn't about cutting everything. It's about knowing the 5 things you genuinely love, funding those completely, and being merciless about the rest. Most people do the opposite. They spend a little on everything and end up loving almost none of it, wondering why a full bank statement can still feel so empty by the end of the month. There's a version of this that shows up in relationships too. Couples who build wealth together usually aren't the ones who never argue about money. They're the ones who have one honest conversation about it every month instead of 40 tense ones a year. Same day each month, 20 minutes, what's coming in and what's going out. That single scheduled habit prevents more damage than almost any budgeting app ever will, because it turns money from a source of silent resentment into something you're building together on purpose. And here's the last one, the one that quietly ties every other decision together. None of these 10 are impressive on their own. Nobody's going to be amazed watching you do a single one of them. And that's exactly why most people skip them. They're waiting for the one big move that changes everything and it doesn't exist. What exists is a person who does 10 unremarkable things consistently for years, while everyone else keeps waiting for a remarkable one that never shows up. That woman in the Target parking lot didn't have one big month. She had about 4 years of tiny decisions that finally caught up with her all at once, and it hit her like a wave in a grocery store parking lot on an ordinary Tuesday. That's what these decisions do. They're invisible for a long time, and then one day, they're not. If you've made it this far, you probably already know which of these 10 you've been avoiding. You felt it somewhere in the last few minutes, that small flinch of recognition when one of them landed a little too close. That's not guilt. It's just information, quietly telling you where to look next. The version of you 5 years from now is being built right now. In decisions this small, this unphotographed, this easy to skip on any given Tuesday. Not one grand decision made once, in some dramatic moment you'll remember forever. 10 quiet ones, repeated so many times they stop feeling like decisions at all and start feeling like who you simply are. That's the part nobody tells you when you're starting out. It never feels like the moment. It just feels like an ordinary day, over and over. Until one Tuesday morning you check your balance and it doesn't look the way it used to. So pick one. Just one of these 10. Start it today, before the feeling fades and the day swallows it whole like every other day has. And if this shifted something for you, even slightly, tell me which one hit hardest in the comments. I read every single one, and subscribe if you want more of these.